Let's get out of here. Right.
Oh man, I forgot that Citroen. Gosh. Just skipping through the cars and then that thing pops up. That is a bright looking Citroen. Those are the ones that get spotted, like, flying around at night. Like wearing an orange safety vest.
So we're just missing Antichrist, yeah?
Yep. I tried to add him in general to see if he was going to make it, but I've got no response, so I'm assuming he's not going to make it.
Oh, he says a couple more rounds he can RSVP for and jump in for a session.
Yep. So we've got a Lexus, a Supra, a Citroen, and an Aston. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if any of them have talked before and maybe want to work together, or if they're all just going to go at it alone, or...
I wonder how that Supra's going to go. Intrinsic.
The Supra's very nice
Pretty damn
on the top
fast.
end, according to Contagious.
Yeah, Contagious was able to put out a
5 without slip in that Supra, so expecting big things from Intrinsic.
No pressure at all.
No, I would never try and put pressure on someone that's qualifying. I've heard that Jonesy's the man to watch with that set.
Pushing it wide on cold tyres already. Yeah. Well, Jonesy and Intrinsic are my teammates, so I'd expect to see them working together.
And that livery that Jonesy has looks absolutely clean. Like, that is beautiful. It's not, like, spectacular, but it's just very clean and, like, everything looks like it should be where it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it.
Intrinsics looks like someone's dumped paint over his car everywhere.
The HKF Classic, mate. You can't get past it.
We've got the beautiful lime green Aston of Tooligan, and then the safety vest Citroen of Midrisk.
Hey, safety first, remember?
I haven't seen too much from the Citroen, but it's getting there on top end. 281, 282, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, he was with Will to Will from season 1, and then I think he dropped out for a bit around season 3, and then now he's back.
His own thing.
I was telling you, it's the safety vest, man.
Hey, clean and simple, boys. That's it.
Man, that's a good manufacturer combo you got there, low side, with the Supra, the Toyotas, and Lexus.
Yeah. Basically, it's all Toyota. Really, when you think about it. Hence our team name. So it pops up as BTGR on everything, but we're basically Team Gazoo Racing. So honorary Lexus is a part of Toyota Gazoo.
So you would assume that those two would work together as Miss Mindrisky puts the safety vest into the wall.
Well, we have to go back to what you said before in the other stream there, Super Dragon. They're going outside those two, outside the racing line and picking up all that dirt, and then they're just sending it into the corner.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to be gained out there other than dirty tyres, so you're really doing yourself a big disservice, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
it makes me a little nervous seeing it, because I'm watching Jonesy and Intrinsic both do it on the entry to that corner as well, so...
Yeah, I gave them the tip, obviously being my teammates, gave them the tip of watching the radar, and you can see where the edge of the track actually is and where you start to pick up dirty tyres, so hopefully they can put that into play and, keep themselves clean.
Well, they're just ditching they're just putting the tyres on on it here and there, and it's almost scary to watch.
And it sounds like something little, but just kind of dipping them off there, here and there, that could cost you half a tenth through the next corner, or a tenth somewhere else on a braking, or...
Yeah, and being such a big lap...
over it being a 4-minute lap, that can just add up and, that can cost you the time.
Yeah, it can really hurt.
especially with how close some of the qualifying numbers have been. You know, a 10th here and there can mean 4 or 5 spots in the overall. I don't know what times it would be for everyone overall, but I'll be keeping a close eye on Jonesy and Intrinsic personally, because they're in Div 2 with me this weekend, so...
Yeah, looking at the overall leaderboard for the qualifying times, it is really close. I mean, the top... We're going to be top 15, 16 is in the 54s. And
yeah,
then
I think the top 16 after the previous session are all in the 54s, so that's...
Oh, Intrinsic's picked up a 1.5 second penalty already, so that's his lap done.
Yeah, that's not a great start.
I think he wants to help Jonesy out.
I feel like they should have got a little closer before the start of the lap if they wanted to help each other. He's kind of right on the edge of being in slip.
Right on the cusp, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not where you want to be, because then you're catching your teammate right at the end of the straight, and you're like, do I bump him so close to the braking zone, or do I roll out of it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's what Adam and I found out before. When you're on the straight like this, it's better to be much closer and with more bumps than just getting one big one. So
yeah, because usually the big bump will send them like 20 or 30 meters out ahead type of thing, and then you got to reel them back in.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
if you're right on each other's tail, you're just constantly pushing them faster and faster.
Yeah. And obviously slipstream effect does get stronger the closer that you get, so if you bump them 20, 30 metres out in front, you've got that little bit more wind force to deal with.
Looking through what type of sector times we've got. Only one person in the 34s through Sector 1, which was Jonesy.
See, yeah, Jonesy's just picking up those dirty tyres on the right-hand side there.
He's flaunting with the track limits a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Which is not something many people would be brave doing around here with
No.
the way the track limits are. But even there you see Intrinsics running 2 wheels off the track.
Which are the next 2 important wheels that he needs. They're going to be very loaded coming into this braking zone in the right-hander.
He's braking early to burn off that penalty anyway. But...
Yeah, it seems like
every
that.
bit of road on the exit there. Alright, running wide there, they'll stop being dirty before the next braking zone because you got such a long straight, but... Taking off
we see him cutting curve again, yeah.
I think it's just trying to minimise how far you have to go. You know, cut down a couple of metres off of how long that straight is for every thousandth of a second having to count here.
Well, yeah,
especially being out front without slipstream.
Yeah, you've really got to make it count. Like you were saying before, every tenth that you lose, every half a tenth that you lose, it certainly goes the other way. So once you get a bit of a banker lap, you can start pushing that little bit harder and try and extract that last, half a tenth or a tenth every sector, and it'll add up quite significantly.
Oh yeah, definitely. At the moment, I don't know how mid-risky's going. I haven't seen too much of him because he's dropped off the back. I keep seeing Tooligan in the background of the shots of Intrinsic and Jonesy. I bet he'll be kicking himself he couldn't tag onto the back of him for the start of the lap and get a bit of slipstream maybe, but...
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they try and reset, if they are indeed in their own comms chat. Yeah. Adam and I figured it out a little bit. We had our points of crossover and figured our gaps out, but whether they've put the practice in to get that or not.
Well, what myself and Squiddy did was, it was kind of just me doing it, and he didn't even realise until it was happening, but I kind of set my lap, and I dropped him a bit.
Ooh,
I left him behind 54.7 to start.
Wow.
Very nice. 56.9
Fantastic first time.
Intrinsic burning that penalty. Tooligan
So there's
sliding
definitely
coming out of the final corner.
Definitely a lot more that we'll see from Intrinsic. He's burnt a 1.5 second penalty on that lap alone, and he's pulled off a 56.9, so there's a lot more to come from him.
He can get here coming across the line for a low 4 minute. 4:02, that's not too bad. It's a good start. But yeah, what I was saying is, when we went out, I set a semi-decent lap on my first lap out, and then I left Squid behind a little bit, so coming onto the straight, I kind of rolled out of it, until he started to catch up and then got up to speed, so I could slipstream him and bump him throughout the lap. And then when I'd done that, coming to start the next lap, I'm right behind him to get my slipstream on the lap and stuff. So
yeah, it's a bit of a balance to find, you know, whether it's a set-up lap or whether it's a quick lap, and how you can cross over. But once you get it right, it is fantastic.
yeah, definitely. This time, Jonesy and Intrinsic both getting into the 34-second mark for the first sector, which is good too. Jonesy with a very low 39-second for the second sector as well. It's going to put him on a very good time.
Yeah, he's gone purple for both sectors again, so that's all with that slip. So yeah, there's some very good times in that one, considering he's working by himself. Yeah.
I reckon he's got a very low 54 in him by himself. He's now down on the time, but only by half a 10.
Yeah, he's found a lot of pace.
Yeah, Jonesy's one I've had my eye on throughout the season. I've seen him kind of make his way up through the divisions, and he's kind of found a fairly competitive like place in Div 2 at the moment, where he's always competing towards the middle and front of the pack and stuff. So
yeah, and there we go. At the next split, he's back to purple again. So he's right on that edge of nailing a quicker lap already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's on for a 57.6, 54.6. I mean, I'm going to keep an eye on Intrinsic this next sector time and see how he's going.
Yeah. Intrinsic is still dropping his tyres wide of the track, so it's questionable how much he's actually picking up dirty tyres, but
so Intrinsic's up by almost 2/10.
2/10, yeah. That's super, proving its worth around this track.
Oh, definitely. I bet he'd be loving it a lot more if he could get in the slipstream with Jonesy. He's kind of right there.
Well, Jonesy's making mistakes here and there, so you know.
Oh, mid-risky.
Oh,
that's not good to see.
Wonder what happened there, if he dropped out or
maybe a rage quit, maybe some internet problems. Tullik's picked up a penalty on this lap, so it's not looking like he's going to improve.
Yeah, Jonesy's down.
Keep an eye on Jonesy.
Jonesy's down 3/10.
Oh, bugger.
There we go. So he may be setting up to, now that they've both got a bit of a banker of a lap coming up, they might be looking to break into that slipstream team mode. And
maybe a little, but it doesn't look like he's going to. Looks like he's still going to try and improve it. Maybe he was unhappy with how he did the last sector or on his first flyer and thinks he can still pull time.
Oof, taking full advantage of the curve there.
That's a shame for mid-risky.
Yeah.
So, does not improve.
There we go.
With a 54.9.
54.9.
We'll see Tulligan cross the line. Hopefully he burns his penalty before he crossed the line.
Doesn't look like he is, no.
He's going to invalidate his next lap, which is unfortunate.
Well, looks like the back of Div 2 for me.
I think I just saw Jonesy rolling out a little. So he might be trying to slow down and give Intrinsic a bit of help. Yeah, he's caught a throttle at the moment.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
He's down by a second and a half in his first sector, so...
Yeah. Hopefully Intrinsic didn't pick up a penalty there. It looked like he ran a little bit wide, but... doesn't look like he's got a penalty for it. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to test that.
Come race day, I'll be happy to avoid any penalties, but I really don't think that's going to be the case.
Look at that, now he's got right up onto the rear end of Jonesy. So,
yeah, so definitely
back off.
Sector times here.
No, well, Drizzy had to back off there, so I wonder if it compromises lap time. Yeah, it did.
6/10 down now.
Yeah.
But he can still make that up with Slipstream. Slipstream can be huge.
Absolutely, it can. If you get absolutely everything right when you're working with a slipstream, it can really pull a second of time out of your lap.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Without slipstream, I was kind of I was in the 54.8s, 54.7s kind of thing, but once I had that, I think I was at 53.9, so...
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah, I managed 54.2 earlier in the week, all by my lonesome with no slip, but ever since I did that one lap, it's like it's one and done, and you can never get back to it, but still managed to pull off a great lap time with the help of Adam in my session just before.
Yeah. I will say it was funny to see D Footnar because Intrinsic actually had a look up the inside of Jonesy there. I don't know if he's...
Yeah, Intrinsic had a very late bump on Jonesy.
I don't know if he was scared of just bumping him wide or what, but...
Which I think he did inadvertently anyway.
But,
or a little bit too much speed for Jonesy to wipe off.
Yeah. On the Tuesday, I jumped in for my first practice session, and Footnar was trying to get into the 53s by himself. And his optimal was like a 52.9 or something ridiculous, just without slipstream, lapping by himself. And then I think he got a 54.2 in quali, and then the next day he got a 53.8 when I was practicing for my quali session, so that was funny to see. It's unfortunate for Midrisk. I don't know, he might have to try and qualify tomorrow night if he can, or start at the back of the grid.
Definitely going to have to pick another session, unfortunately, which is never a nice thing to do. Once you're in, you want to try and get your qualifying session done, but hopefully for him he's got another time.
4:01 or 4:02, so it's still not a terrible time to have as a banker if he can't get in for another quali lap.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just trying to find which lobby he's in. I did not see it. So he is in Div 4. And the lowest time in Div 4 at the moment is actually 3:59, so...
Okay, so he's not too far off the mark if he hasn't got time tomorrow night to be able to do another qualifying session.
Yeah, and I think Antichrist, since he's missed the session tonight, he'll be looking to qualify tomorrow as well, or start...
Yeah, true.
Yeah, this is going to be the one. Try to get tomorrow. Yeah, that's the way, Midrisky. If you can get him for 7 or 9s, go for it, man. Probably 7 would be a little more suited, because there's not as many people. I think there's 11 in the 9 PM lobby at the moment, so...
Yeah, it's got to be very busy, and even though it is a massive track, I think
it's going to be hard
people,
to find space.
Yeah, going to struggle to find space, and get tripped up.
Alright, let's see what Jonesy and Intrinsic can do. 34.8 through the first sector for Jonesy and a 34.9 for Intrinsic. That's right where you want to be. If you can get into the 34s, you're having a great first sector.
Yeah, absolutely.
You usually want to look for the low 39s or the 38s for sector 2, so... Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Look at that speed, he's going 290 before the braking zone. That is insane. Wow. Yeah,
that is absolutely
crazy.
flying. So hopefully Intrinsic gets a decent run on the exit of this corner, as we see in purple by 1.5 tenths.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can hold that through.
Intrinsic's got a 39 flat for that second sector, and Jonesy's got a 39.2, so again, both really good times for the first 2 sectors. And there's the bump.
There we go.
Yeah, they go. Right, I'll keep an eye on Intrinsic as he comes through this next sector to see how far up on the time he might be. So we can keep an eye on Jonesy so we get that information.
How are they breaking on the dirt like that and still pull it up? It's crazy.
Oh, it scares me every time. So yeah, Jonesy's up by 10th.
Yep, Intrinsic's up by 1.
10,
so,
yeah.
Yep. 1-1-2.
Midriski's in for 7 o'clock tomorrow, so be good to see him get another
day for practice if you can get that in, if you're not too busy on the Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Intrinsic's just to back off a little bit there.
Yeah,
you don't want to bump too close to that corner.
Jonesy's car just jumped. Yep, he hit a bollard and went airborne.
See, with Intrinsic being up 4 tenths. Oof.
The magic number.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can hold it. This straight still, if you're out of slip, it can affect you quite heavily, but the rest of the track is very much dependent on the driver's skill, so he can definitely pull it off.
Yeah, I think he's on for a 54.5 at the moment. with that time, but we'll see. Because the time he's trying to beat, which is Jonesy's, he had no slip.
There we go.
So
4 tenths up still.
That puts him on for a 54.3 actually, because he's purple on Jonesy's time, not his own mistake.
At his own sector, yep. Yeah, so Intrinsic certainly proving he's no slouch.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like Intrinsic's this season might have been a little bit of a difficult one for him because he was a Div 1 regular pretty much all of last season. I think he hosted every Div 1 lobby last season. I could be wrong, but he was always there or thereabouts. And he's kind of been dropped into Div 2 a little bit. But he's taken a beautiful line through there. Just barely grazed the wall.
Keeping it super smooth.
Taking as much of the curb as possible through that very difficult corner. So easy to run wide and get a penalty there. And it's so painful to do 3.5 minutes into a 4-minute lap.
Just to receive a half-second penalty and throw it all away. Been there.
Coming through the first chicane, does well. Plenty of curb throughout the second one. On the power early, little slide.
This will be a good lap.
Oh, 54.1, that's beautiful.
Oh, that is flying. Supra showing its strengths in the last sector there as well. It's definitely got the handling edge on the Lexus.
Alright, Jonesy's not going to improve. We'll keep an eye on Tooligan as he comes to finish his lap here. I know that he did his 4:01 in his first flying lap and then carried a penalty across the line, which messed up his next 2 laps. So we'll see if he can improve on that this one.
Jeez,
coming through the first of the 4 chicanes.
Everyone's showing so much speed in qualifying.
He's gotten a little loose on the braking. He holds onto it.
Gathers it back up for the final chicane.
On the power, nice and early. Not going to improve, but he's showing he's got a bit more pace throughout the braking zone through there if he can hold it together.
Yeah, if he can hold it together as well, we should get another 3 complete laps in by the time he comes around for the second time.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I don't think Jonesy's going to be close enough to get into the slipstream this lap, but I think...
there we go, so he has pulled back for him. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did a 38, almost a 39 second first sector. Jonesy didn't have a great one, 4 tenths, 5 tenths off where he wants to be. See how they go through the second sector timing. 39.2, so that's about where you want to be. You want to be in the low 39s, high 38s, or obviously lower than the 38s if you can, but
yeah,
high
but
39s is no slouch of a time through there. So he's done a 39.2.
Yeah, great sector time.
Yeah. So you want to look for a low 32 throughout this next sector. We'll see how he goes coming through there just now. He's right up on the rear bumper of Intrinsic. Hopefully Intrinsic
so hopefully that slip will work for him.
Yeah, it will.
I wonder if they'll bump or if they'll leapfrog. See if Jonesy's going to claim the lap or not.
I think since that Supra's got a little bit more straight line speed, it'd be better to stay behind him until after this corner. But it doesn't look like he's going to do that.
Looks like they're going to swap.
Yep. Oh, Intrinsic almost goes in the back of him.
We've seen him get squeezed.
Being out there under braking is a scary thing as well. It just wants to drag your car left out into the middle of nowhere, and it's so easy to end up in that sand trap.
Yeah, it did very well to keep it together. Yeah, so that's definitely Intrinsic's lap done, but Jonesy has improved by 1.5 tenths, so he's not purple yet, but we'll see what he can pull off.
About a 54.5, which again is no slouch of a time as well. So
no, that's
these
absolutely
two jumping into the 54s, that makes 18 out of, gosh, I don't know how many people have qualified, but yeah, 18 out of 46 people have been able to make it into the 54s, so that's about where you want to be.
Yeah, and even mid to low 54s is challenging, a significant amount of Premier League of Div 1 boys for outright qualifying time. So these boys certainly showing their worth.
Yeah, I know Squiddy and Piper got mid 55s. I think Squid got a 55.5, Piper got a 55.6.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Suitlad had a rough time and he got like a 55.9. Jonesy now down on his time by 1.5 tenths.
Yeah, 2 laps.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get 2 flyers.
Yeah, definitely have to keep close together if they want to try and work as a team, or if they want to go at it by themselves for these last couple laps.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. Oh, we see Jonesy go
That's a great
very
line
tight.
there. That's a great line. You want to take as much of that curve as you can without getting a penalty.
Yeah, it looks like he's gotten away with it.
Yeah, he's still
Very
like two
lucky
of
to
his
get away
tires
with
on
it.
that curve, which is that's not luck. That's pure skill. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, very calculated. Yeah, he definitely is. He's been known as the marathon hoster. What was it? 12 hours of Catalonia earlier in the season. Yeah, hosted from like 12 a.m. to like midnight on a Saturday. Oh, we see Jonesy just purple in the first sector.
Tooligan improves with a 4-minute flat, 4-minute.8.
It's a great improvement from Tooligan.
That's just over half a second quicker than his previous best. And he'll be looking to improve that more as well with 2 laps still to go. So it looks like now that he's got those first... he's going to get a penalty for that.
Cut that corner too much.
Yeah.
There it is, half a second.
Yeah, that first chicane's tricky. You don't want to take pretty much any curb on those two. It's very dangerous to do.
Purely for the sake of penalties, and if you're taking too much, it can unsettle the car on the exit as well, which is never a nice thing when you're trying to put as much power down as you can. It can really hurt your confidence.
Yeah.
So Jones,
jumping back on board with Jonesy.
Yeah.
Intrinsic here.
yeah, 1.5 tenths up for Jonesy on purple. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's up in purple.
Intrinsic was coming in pretty quick, but decided against the bump there because they're coming in pretty close to the braking zone.
Still taking a lot of liberty on those track edges.
Yeah, still making me nervous seeing him dip those tyres across. Still up by 1.5 tenths is Jonesy. I don't know about Intrinsic, but...
I'll say on Intrinsic, and I'll tell you the next sector.
Intrinsic is best, personal best, but he's not purple, according to the live timing.
That's interesting, because he's got the purple lap, but... yes.
He may have just had the better first sector, and he's still managed to pull that through.
See, so Jonesy's no longer purple, he's up by 4 tenths on his own personal time, though.
Intrinsic's up by 0.069.
Hey,
Oof.
nice.
Talk about consistency.
Yeah, and he's going to improve over this part of the lap, because he lost Jonesy's toe throughout this straight on his fast lap, didn't he, if I'm not mistaken?
He did, yeah. Jonesy lost it at the exit of the... I'm not sure on the corner,
right,
so I haven't got stuff on the corner names.
Mulsanne corner, right at the end of the Mulsanne straight.
Yeah, there you go.
It's Indianapolis right now.
What?
Little squirrely. Coming into my favourite
Jonesy's
corner
just gone purple
right
as well.
Arnage. Beautiful, beautiful corner. I love it.
So Intrinsic's up by 0.166.
There we go, so 1.5 tenths. So this, at the end of this straight, was where Adam and I were swapping over. We found that to be the biggest advantage from Slipstream, so we'll see if Intrinsic's going to try and make a pass or Jonesy gives it to him, but it doesn't look like it.
I think they're both
These
on
guys
that.
are on for high 53s at the moment, so I don't think either will want to be backing out of that.
No. As much as their teammates...
Leading 2 tenths.
Tenths up. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
This is going to be
crucial corner here.
close.
Taking plenty of curb on the mid corner. Running all
Solid
the way out
exit.
to the white line. See how they take these 4 chicanes.
This first Ford chicane, yeah.
Oh, Intrinsic's getting held up by Jonesy there, actually. He took it a lot better and just got held up.
Jonesy using plenty of curve on the exit. Oh, that's going to hurt his time.
53.1 for Intrinsic. And...
54.5 from Jonesy. So he improves, but not by much.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, they definitely did.
Right. Maybe we'll jump on board with Tooligan here and see if he can improve on his 4-minute flat. I haven't had a chance to see his sector times, but got a good run coming into towards the 4 chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to get a great run onto it, because even though it's a small straight, you don't want to lose a tenth here and there. you know, oh, I didn't get a great exit there, that's okay, but that's going to cost you a 10th here and there, and that's the difference between a 54 and a 53 at the moment for Intrinsic, just that 1/10.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Tulligan comes across the line with a 4:03, so it doesn't improve on his 4-minute .8, but jump back on board with Jonesy and Intrinsic, who are back in the bump drafting. Coming up to the first chicane at the moment. Jonesy's backing off, rolling out of it for the braking zone. Neither of them cracking into the 34s for Sector 1, so they didn't have a great first sector. Intrinsic's got a 35 flat. They've both come through Sector 2 with a 39.1, so that's a good second sector, but it's not great.
That's good.
It's good to hear.
Great, being last lap. Let's hope he can keep it together.
Yep, most definitely. Alright, so you want a low 32 through this next sector. We'll see how these guys do. Jonesy's backing off very early to try not to maybe bump Intrinsic and... if he gets sideways, that's going to cost him a fair bit on this run here. Jonesy's down to second on his time. Yeah, so these guys have not had a great start of their final lap. And this might be a qualifying session of what could have been for him.
Yeah, even still, with that said, they've both pulled off absolutely epic times around here. Like I said before, they're certainly challenging some of the top speeds from qualifying that we've had this week so far.
Yeah, well that 54.1 puts Intrinsic into second place in Div 2, only behind myself by not a whole lot, just under 2/10.
Yeah.
And Jonesy with a 54.5 goes into what would be 5th, I believe, once Intrinsic's slower in there, so...
Yeah.
Yep.
So...
Excellent.
So
hey,
maybe we'll keep the focus on
6/10.
Tulligan here, because Intrinsic and Jonesy have been struggling a bit. And see if Tulligan can pull off an improvement here.
Let's see if he works better under pressure, given this is his last lap.
We're all watching Tulligan, huh?
Yep.
You guys reckon he can crack the 4 minutes? Oh, he's taking a very, very wide run into that corner there.
I certainly hope so.
Dirty stuff
Definitely.
Ooh, he's
almost half a
4/10
second
up.
up.
What's his best time at the moment?
4-minute .8. So if he pulls the last couple of sectors together, he's certainly got that 59.
Well, it seems like
tapping on his door.
Well, so it seems that throughout his qualifying, he's actually in, like, his last sectors have been where he's made the most improvement. So, might see something on.
See how he goes coming into Indianapolis here through the King. On the brakes very early and then back on the accelerator. It's something I haven't seen. But if that's how you feel comfortable taking the corner, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, just driving within your limits. And
Yeah, it certainly looked like it was stable too.
5.33. So he's gained about half a 10th throughout there, which is really good to see.
Fingers crossed he can keep his last sector runs.
Yeah, I think the Porsche curves is where he's making most of his time, where he's been very consistently slow, just taking wide lines, unfortunately. So we'll see how we go.
A quick update. So Jonesy and Intrinsic have crossed the line, no improvement. So the 54.1 for Intrinsic will be his final time, and the 54.5 for Jonesy will be their final time.
The Tulligan's 3/10 up still, so he's lost a very small margin in the first set of Porsche curves, but the only set.
Run a little wide of the apex throughout there, but he's still got a decent exit on the run down to the Porsche canes. Now let's see what type of line he can take through the first one.
Come a bit wider, mate. Use the whole track. That's it.
There you go, brakes late.
Wide turn in.
Bit of a wide turn in, yeah.
That's alright. Plenty of curve on the first part of the second chicane. Got a very good run through there. Let's see if he can crack it. Come on!
Come on!
Oh, let's go! 59.8,
Fantastic.
that's very good.
On his last lap, so proving that he certainly works better. On...
watching that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, a fantastic end. Good work, Tulligan.
Yeah, that's great.
Is he?
I'm not completely sure.
Oh. I go back to controller every now and then, and I just realise I suck entirely. So I continue my efforts on the wheel. I can't do it on controller anymore.
So even with that time for Tulligan, he is unfortunate enough to be in Div 5 with Footnar and Tank Master. So
between those two. Well, at least now Footner's got someone to keep him entertained.
He's got a good start off the line there as well. Just jumped out of
Certainly
intrinsic.
does. That Super is definitely not something that's quick off the line in both Group 3 and Group 4, unfortunately. So intrinsic is being
Always a
swamped
sitting
on the
duck.
start.
Oh, he's got.
Oof.
He's gotten very loose there.
And
So,
Jonesy
I
looking like
can't
he's run away with it already.
can't remember exactly what his time was, but that provisionally for the Tooligan, that should be good enough to put him in 4th or 5th for Div 5, which is great.
Yeah, he pulled off a 59.8, so hopefully that'll bring him right up.
Yeah, that'll put him ahead of Gordigo and just behind Palmer, who just happens to be my teammate, so I'm pretty happy about that one.
There you go.
And overall, I think that'll put him ahead of probably 10 or 11 people that have qualified already, which is good to see.
Yeah, definitely.
But absolutely cracking qualifying time from Intrinsic there, though.
Oh yeah,
54.1.
He's picked up a penalty in the race, but I don't think he cares too much about it with that 54.1. So.
He'd be sitting proud in that cockpit at the moment.
Absolutely. I feel like if I was in his shoes there, I'd be kicking myself a little for not being able to crack the 53s, being so close and being up into those 4 chicanes, but
yeah, he was definitely knocking on that door, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think, what was he up by? It was at 2/10 coming into the Porsche curves, and then up by about a 10th coming out of them, and then they kind of
they held
each other up into the 4 chicanes. Both picking up penalties, though.
Both flaunting with the track limits a little bit too much, which I'm surprised they didn't do more of in qualifying. Given that we saw them multiple occasions and Intrinsic showing it to us again, now he's dropping wheels off the side of track limits for GT Sport.
Yeah, that's so scary to do that coming into that corner as well if you run that little bit wide, because it just pulls the car out there so easily. Yeah,
with those left-hand tyres being, especially the left-hand front, being fully loaded, trying to turn and brake at the same time from 270 odd kilometres an hour, it's surprising that he can hold it together. Hat goes off to him.
I can tell he might be in for a decent chance at winning this with both of these guys having penalties for the one lapper.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all about that one, taking out that win.
Yeah, if they don't burn him, and usually, he straddles the curve on the exit of Indianapolis there.
Well, Intrinsic getting wild on the exit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this track is not forgiving.
Penalty will burn you a lot. That'll lose you a lot more than 1.3 seconds.
Oh well, yeah. Depending on where you burn it, that's for sure.
Tooligan only 1.5 seconds behind Intrinsic. I bet he's thinking, how come I couldn't do this during the race with him? During the qualifying session with him? He's right there with him.
Yeah, he's not dropped off at all. Tooligan well wide. So much for him not picking up the penalties. Yep. I think that's going to be a telltale sign for the races to come on Sunday night and then the following week as well. It's honestly going to be a battle of fuel saving and just not picking up penalties.
Yeah, definitely. Jonesy went for the goat flick across the line and didn't do it. Tooligan, being the gentleman he is, burning his penalty before he crosses the line.
See? Too kind. Oh, good stuff. That wraps up our Friday night for qualifying. Fantastic time for both Jonesy and Intrinsic, and congratulations to Tooligan breaking that 4-minute barrier.
Oh yeah. Oh, looks like they Corona Cup then. Jeez.
And
I think everyone's
fastest Friday qualifier is Mr. Lowside with the 53.7. So the cracking time.
Very, very fast.
Thank you. Yeah, all thanks to Adam V's help in the slipstream. Unfortunately, we weren't able to reciprocate it for him, but yeah, at least one of us were able to pull off the 53.
Yeah, that's got you starting in second in the Premier League currently, so...
Yeah, I'll see if I can botch my start a little bit. I'm sure Pure will be keen to get the lead, and I'll tuck right in behind and save my fuel.
If it makes you feel any better, you've only got the duo of Dale and Rexy right behind you, so at least they're not going to work together, right? They wouldn't.
No, of course not. There'll be every man for himself between those two, for sure. Right, good stuff. I think that'll wrap this qualifying session up if Fine Moves hasn't already killed the stream.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm back, boys. Yeah, no, sounds good. Let's wrap it up.
Beautiful.